This week on The Beautiful 90, are Chelsea title contenders?
I think he will go down as one of the greatest all-time Premier League players, as well as Chelsea's maybe greatest all-time player.
City, Arsenal and Liverpool all drop points.
And Arsenal can't afford to have that gap.
And United experience growing pains under Ruben Amorim. What do you think United need to do to get to that next level? Stick around for the best football show on the internet. Hello people, my name's Sameeul. Welcome back to The Beautiful 90, the show that dives into the biggest narratives in English football. I'm joined again by my co-hosts. We got Reece and we got LDP. So, LDP, you're going to be happy with the way we start this. Because starting off with your team, Chelsea.
What a weekend.
Chelsea.
You know what I'm saying? The best chant in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
Mate, in all seriousness, this was an amazing week. Obviously, I know we're going to be trying to balance the double game week a little bit. A lot went on, unfortunately, for your team. Not so much went on. But, nah, it was brilliant. Obviously, on Wednesday, we properly showed up.
Yeah.
Again, absolutely slapped Southampton. I felt bad because I was watching it with my Southampton friend. He wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Expected though, like the bottom of the table, like he should have been doing bits against them.
Bang on. Like for me, the way I see it, that game should have been 10 goals plus. Like it's down to absolute heroics from their goalkeeper after messing up. Obviously, he screwed up initially, but then he's the reason why it wasn't double figures. Yeah. And obviously, we missed a bunch of chances. But my days, seeing our players show up like that, prove our credentials. We're still not title challengers, by the way, but I'm proud of it.
Really? Because I'd actually say that you are title challengers. Like, what's to say you're not title challengers compared to Arsenal or City?
See, before I was saying it because the bandwagon, it's a funny statement, obviously, to try and get on board with that. Obviously, Maresca's been downplaying everything. But now I have to be realistic. When you are in this position, 14 games in, with this many wins under your belt, you have to be considered title challengers. Whether we want to be considered that or not, because we've massively overshot our development. We're way further ahead than we could have hoped we'd be. Yeah. But yeah, we're good value for it. It's great.
The way I see it is, because obviously you lot played Southampton, which is an easy game, but then you also played Spurs, which I think this season Spurs have been the test for the big teams. So whereas they played United and they battered United, they played Villa, they battered Villa, who are also trying to get in that top four area. And then you lot come across Spurs and you kind of just have your way with them. Even though Cucurella did kind of give them 2 goals right at the beginning.
Yeah, he was trying to pull a Stevie G on us, he was.
Yeah.
But,
See, us Liverpool fans, we've got something back against that. Even though we didn't win that match, yeah, but you know what I mean? We've got that slip now, so we're even.
Yeah, but Cucurella did actually post on his Instagram story poking fun at it. He kind of took a picture of his boots in the bin. Yeah, captioned it like, bye-bye boots or whatever it was. But once he changed his boots, Chelsea literally just got straight back into the game.
Yeah, we were so smooth from that point onwards. Like, personally, I had no doubt because like Tottenham are so Tottenham that even when they were 2-0 up, I thought to myself, we're probably still in it.
Yeah.
But that finish from Jadon Sancho was game-changing. The dynamic of the match switched in that.
That was the best game I've seen him. Not even at Chelsea, but since he's come to England. That's the best game I've seen him. He's been at the heart of 3 of the goals. That he literally won the 2 penalties. He played a part in
one of them. Caicedo won the other, but yeah.
No, the first one, he played it into Caicedo, who won it.
Yeah, I see you.
The second one, he played it into Cole Palmer, who won it, and then obviously he scored the goal. And Cole Palmer, man, 2 penalties again. I think the best penalty taker we've ever seen.
Oh, it's cold,
his record says he is. His record, he's 12 out of 12 now. He's obviously Toure, legend that he was, but now Cole Palmer needs his own cake, mate. Like,
no, but when he steps up, he always looks so like sure and confident in himself, and you can't buy that, you can't train that. It's just a personality trait.
Yeah.
And the second penalty to do a Panenka in to basically win the game, let's say.
Yeah.
I got up out my chair, running around with like hands out like an airplane. I was like, as if he's done it.
The room I was in, everyone just lost it. But that's another game where, look, 2 goals, and he got an assist for Enzo, maybe? Would you count that as an assist?
They labelled it an assist, but like, I think what's really cool about it is because like the goal that Enzo scored 3 games ago was basically identical, where Cole Palmer basically got to the same position, laid it over to him, and then Enzo comes in with a volley.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just a carbon copy of it in a great sense.
I mean, he got the assist on fantasy. That counts as an assist.
We'll take it.
The fantasy managers will take it.
If the points are there, mate.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it counts as an actual assist, but that goes to show that Cole Palmer there was a bit of a narrative around him where he's not a big game player. And I just think that's nonsense. Like,
yeah, it is.
He's proved it in big games, even the Euro final he scored. Do you know what I mean?
I think like if he keeps it up, he's going to be regarded like not at the moment in regards to trophies, but like a Foden level kind of player where he's young, he's starting out, and if he like keeps on going, being a big game player for Chelsea,
I think he's going to be miles better than Foden. I don't think.
I don't want to do too direct of comparisons. I think they're such different players, despite operating in similar areas. But I think for me, the thing is, and the comparison I loved, I think it was Carragher on Match of the Day talking about it, where look at the impact of people like Zola in the time that he was at Chelsea. Obviously, for Zola, he was at the end of his career when he came to Chelsea. He's very different. But I firmly already believe Cole Palmer has surpassed what people like Zola were doing at Chelsea. His stat line in the first 18 months is absurd.
It's ridiculous.
I think he's on something like 51 goal contributions in 46 appearances for
but that's
Chelsea.
not
He's got
normal,
the
like, that's
most fastest to get 50 goal contributions for
Chelsea.
club,
Yeah.
48 games.
Yeah, but it's
and
not
50.
just like...
That's mental.
Yeah, but it's like, it's the quality that he's providing
I
as
think
well.
that's the thing. Like people like Hazard, I'm not saying that Palmer's better than Hazard. It's very different contexts and so on.
No way, but yeah.
But the thing for me, Hazard looked like a beautiful player, but didn't always have the best stat lines, which is fair. He didn't need to have stat lines to have the impact that he had. But Cole Palmer's having ridiculous stat lines and crazy in-game performances.
Yeah.
Where for me, I don't know where he'll end up. Obviously, we're wishing all the best for his career, but I think he will go down as one of the greatest all-time Premier League players, as well as Chelsea's maybe greatest all-time player. He
Obviously,
could do it.
He's still so young and there's still like so much to happen. But what I see with him, what I don't see with many players nowadays, is like he's got this like individuality about him where he's not like he's part of a system. He makes stuff happen when he wants it to happen. Like for Enzo's goal, for example, that was all him coming in from the right-hand side and taking on like 4 players. I don't know if you saw a screenshot, but he was surrounded by like 4 or 5 players, and then he found a way to get his shot off, which got deflected and obviously ended up in the goal. And yeah, like literally, I feel like most players today are system players. So even like, obviously we'll come on to him later, but Saka and Odegaard, like they're brought into the forefront because of the system they play in, whereas Palmer's almost goes against that compared to other players that he's playing in.
I agree.
That's why I think he stands out from other players, especially.
I completely agree. And all round, the maturity in his game, despite his young years, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
He could be Chelsea's all-time, like,
I hope he does.
centre attacking mid. He's got Lampard to compete with, but you know what I mean?
But I just think to myself, and I'm not, again, these are some wild reaches, but I just think, remember talking to like Barcelona fans in terms of how they felt when people like Messi were first emerging and so on,
Yeah.
when people like Neymar first come to the club, and it feels like we have a superstar, maybe not Messi level, because who is, but it feels like we have a superstar of X factor level, and it's so fun. It's brilliant.
Yeah, but the game could have also gone really differently because there was 2 red card shots in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, so there was Caicedo on Sarr.
Yeah.
I think that was a red card.
I think, me personally, I don't think it should be, but based on the red cards we've seen this season, yeah, you could definitely say it
Based on
was.
like previous like cases,
This season, there's been a lot of similar ones where
and,
people
like,
have been carded. So.
how like the referees conduct the game normally, I think that really should have been a red card because it's like above the ankle.
It was. I think the only thing that saves him is you can see he's pulling out of the challenge before he makes contact.
And it's a bit congested where he was making the challenge, so maybe he kind of gets away with it and it wasn't in like a dangerous area, so to speak.
I think it's to do with like the fact that, you know, he's trying to get the ball, but in that split second where he's jumping in for the tackle, the ball's already like left the feet of the player, and it's like it's unfortunate that he catches him in the end. But Tottenham got away with a few things.
There was
this
also
season,
Kulusevski's challenge on Lavia, which actually took him out of the game. That also I think could have been a red card.
I think it probably should have been, but
Yeah.
by the same token, if they're not going to give a red for Caicedo's, I still think that was different. But I think it's whatever in that sense.
It's good that Caicedo never got that red card because he played out of his skin that game.
That's another thing I do want to come on to. While we're on the topic of red cards, by the way, I just want to mention Jack Stevens, Southampton. What the hell were you doing, bro? The ball wasn't even in play when he pulled Cucurella's hair.
That's a proper red card.
And that's for me, it's like, you're Southampton's captain, your team's in the absolute mud, and then you want to make your job harder when you're already 3-1 down against Chelsea.
The thing is, Cucurella's hair is just so like pullable. Like, you know when you're behind him, you think, let me just give it a tug. Like, you know what I'm saying?
How soft is it because of the conditioner?
He's probably just trying to see what conditioning he's using or something like that. Like, you don't know what's going through his head.
Mango, papaya.
Yeah, exactly. But in moments like that, you can't lose. I get like you're in game mode and you can't have a lapse in concentration like that because that basically cost them the game.
The game was mostly out of hand at that point already, but Chelsea was showing enough lapses, in my opinion, that Southampton probably weren't entirely out of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw what they were doing against Liverpool. We know that they can have moments of good play, and I think they were doing enough to possibly still make that game competitive until Jack Stevens writ off any chance for that. So it's a bit of a tangent, but it's while we're on the topic of red cards this week, because they've dominated topics.
Yeah, there was Kulusevski's on as well.
Of
Going
course.
back to it, I think that should have been a red card.
So I'm in agreement, but talking on midfielders, sorry, is where we were getting to when I just jumped back there. Caicedo, my word, I am firmly of the opinion that if you're talking best midfielders in the Premier League, you have to talk Caicedo's name right now.
Yeah, 100%. It's between him and Gravenberch. And if we're talking like holding midfield position, then it definitely has to be them too.
I think he's at least on the same level as a Rice is this season in performances, if not better.
He's definitely playing better than Rice.
This season,
I
at
would
least,
say
in my
this season,
opinion.
yeah.
So I'm just glad to see, like, the main thing, like we were saying last week, people are only talking about his fee when they're talking about him justifying his fee now.
Yeah, I was going to say that
Yeah.
when like Enzo Fernandez and Sameeul joined, like they had a bit of slander at the start because they weren't performing.
For a
But
lot
I feel
of
like
good reason.
now Fernandez, he's getting on the score sheet, and Sameeul, he's playing well.
It goes to show you need to
yeah.
give players at least a season to kind of
Warm up
settle into
into
the
it, yeah.
systems and stuff like that. But the thing I really like about Caicedo is like he's got this like work rate and like almost like ferociousness and tenacity, and then you mix it with like technical ability too, where he can make a pass and he can move into the spaces nicely. And you've got like the makings of a complete holding midfielder. And I'm looking at your lot's midfield setup of Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo, and I think it's on par with Liverpool's. That's why I think you lot are pushing them as far as you lot have been so far.
I appreciate it.
The only problem though, getting onto it, is your defence is too lacklustre. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Which is what we've been saying.
You know what? The one person who I will give a lot of credit to in that game against Spurs rather,
Yeah.
Badham, I think he looked a little bit questionable when he was playing on the right side of defence. Being a left-footed centre-back on the right side, he looked uncomfortable. When he moved over to the left, the game changed. As obviously, we also made changes in terms of moving Caicedo into the midfield. I'm forgetting who else moved around in midfield around half-time. But moving Badham to the left and moving Caicedo out from right back into centre midfield, it was a game changer. The passing lanes that got opened up as a result, I think genuinely took Spurs out of the game and allowed us to then keep on building further up into the pitch, putting pressure on them. But yeah, it's a shame that the best aspects of our defence is the attacking qualities.
Yeah.
The defensive qualities
The
are
build-up
leaving
play and
us.
stuff.
Yeah, because they're brilliant in terms of being on-the-ball defenders, but there is a lot of work to be done to make us just less easy to play through.
Yeah, I think like it's your midfield and your attack. Your attack, especially like they're all young and they all look like they can be world beaters. It's like especially if Sancho achieves
Hopefully, yeah.
what people would know he can achieve, and Palmer just carries on the way he's going, and Nick Jackson finds his form. I think will really like push for it. But for centre back, I think you need to bring another centre back in, because even though you played like a lacklustre Spurs side, they scored 3 goals and they could have had a 4th if Son buried his chance. But
we did have to ride our luck quite a bit in that game to get through. You're not wrong at all.
Yeah, you were fortunate, but someone who doesn't seem as fortunate is maybe Postecoglou. Do you think?
I don't think this will be the game that gets Postecoglou sacked by any means, but I do think this is going to be one of those games that really puts him firmly in the hot seat, because we have seen how inconsistent Spurs have been. But I think one of my favourite things about that is it just really highlights how well Maresca's doing, which is just great to see.
Yeah, like he's been doing a great job for Chelsea. I mean, like, obviously, we had Lampard for a bit, he had a bad run of games, and then you brought in, like, Tuchel, and he did all right in the Prem, but he's even better at knockout tournaments, and I think that's why he's a good appointment for the England manager, because, like, international football is just knockout tournament. Like, got you, like, to 6 finals, 2 Carabao Cups, an FA, the Champions League as well.
Club World
But
Cup
then
and
when he got sacked, and you brought in Potter, and that was just a hype signing.
Set the club back a little
Yeah,
bit.
like he dropped you down right into 12th place, and then like you had a couple of seasons there where you had Potter and Lampard, and you're thinking you're not total contenders now. But now you brought in Maresca, he's got 61% win ratio across all the teams that he's managed, and now you're back up into that top spot where you're not going to be qualifying for the Conference League next year. You're going to be in the Champions League, and that's what Chelsea needs.
It's sad to say, but Chelsea are back where they.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah.
I liked hating on Chelsea for them banter years that they had, but with Chelsea you can't keep them down for too long.
No.
To find a way back. They're such a well-run club in that sense.
I still don't think we're going to win the title, realistically. I think Liverpool probably are a little bit too far out. But I've got a weird feeling. I got a weird little feeling.
Could have another slip.
And you know what? You lot get second.
But you know what this reminds me of? Like, it's not quite the same, but it reminds me of that Conte season when things switched and it just we never looked back from there. Who knows?
Yeah, but with Conte, he was proven. With Maresca, he's not really proven. He's more of a younger manager coming from Leicester. Conte, this guy was a winner coming from Juve or AC Milan or something like that. But he was a proven winner when he came in, and do you know what I mean? He proved it. But
and the reason I'm calling it this one is because these are a bunch of teams who don't have a chance of being the top performers in the league, but I think they want to keep an eye on anyway this season. My first one I want to mention, Newcastle. I think they play such fun football. They are pure BS and pure vibes, but it's great. I just want to shout them out for giving us 2 of the best games this week and only taking 1 point from them. Exactly. Credit to you. Who does that? So they were great, but I do want to say Anthony Gordon was class. Speaking of that game, I also want to shout out Brentford, the third best team in London, but only in London. How the hell do you go around having 7 wins at home, 6 losses away, bruv? And that's my great entertainers. Got
You know what? Speaking of clubs that are not being, and how they're run, let's say, we should move on to United, yeah? United who, they picked up points. No, sorry, they lost both their games, actually.
Lost
what am I
both
talking
games,
about?
Bad week.
Yeah, so
real bad week.
Start off with Forest, 3-2 to Forest. It's not a good look, is it?
No, it's not looking good, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 goals they conceded were all from, like, mistakes, more or less. Especially, like, the second goal with Onana. What was he doing?
I was literally on the left-hand side of the goal before even the ball got to him, yeah.
Like, why did he move so quickly?
It's like he was anticipating the shot a bit too much, and he didn't expect it to just be. It wasn't even. I can't even call it a knuckleball. It was just. I think it was just wet grass.
The wind, yeah.
And he just moved in the other direction. But when, like, as a keeper, when you look that ridiculous, it's hard to kind of like save face, especially when it comes to if you're a United keeper and on social media. And the other 2 mistakes as well from Martinez.
Standing right next to the post and the ball gets past him. How are you doing that? Yeah.
I think that might have been the wind as well, actually, because I think he thought it was going out and just blew it back in.
But speaking of, going back to him, I think he's had such a big fall from grace.
From his Ajax or Inter
from
days,
Inter,
right?
like, you know, like he was in that side, bearing in mind that City in the final, but he kept that team in that tournament all the way to the final.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, you know, Yashin Trophy shapes to get in there. Like,
he's also from Barcelona's academy as well.
Like
so he's got a good,
shapes.
he's got a good, and
he's got
a good CV, basically.
Yeah. And now he's come from United and he's dropping stinkers and like...
And to be fair, I'm pretty sure United are up there with the most clean sheets in the league.
That's the thing.
He's there and thereabouts.
He's been so weird this season because he's been far better this season than he was last season, without a doubt. But there's still just some weird errors in this game. It's like, bro, you're too good to mess up like that in sometimes. But the thing I found fascinating, obviously I remember we've said each week, if they'd have lost to Ipswich, it would have been a story. If they'd lost to Everton, it would have been a story. And now they actually did lose to Nottingham, as well as Arsenal.
Yeah.
To be fair, Nottingham are sitting 5th. So
yeah, no, credit to Nottingham, because each week I've basically been asking, are they the elephant in the tree? Will they be able to keep this going? Because I want them to.
Yeah.
I think there's enough quality in that squad and enough young, promising talent. I'm like, I love to see them doing well. Obviously, Morgan Gibbs-White's not quite as young, but I think he's a brilliant player. I find it weird that he hasn't been picked up by a bigger club, but instead he's just made his club a bigger club, and I'm like, fair play.
But like, the thing is with United is, I feel like I don't want to say they never respected Forest, but for Gibbs-White's goal, like he's a number 10 in the Premier League, and that comes with a certain quality.
That much space, that much space.
They left him so much space, but he could just get a shot off, even if it wasn't the best shot and Onana should have saved it. You can't let a player of his quality get a shot off. And even for the third goal, Chris Wood's goal, he was on the right-hand side. He crossed it in once and then got the rebound. No one came onto him to win the second ball. He crossed it in again. Chris Wood puts the header in. So it's like United, there's a lack of determination on their part.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I think that just comes down to personnel. I think they just need to change up their players.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he going to be an attitude problem? Because, I mean, like with Ten Hag, when he was there, and he had like the best player in the world at his feet. He had Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And Ronaldo said, he put him in his place kind of with Ten Hag, and he said, you need to sort the club out. And he got rid of him. Same with Sancho. He had a bit of beef with him. Rashford as well, maybe. And it's are the players right in this sense? Like, is it the managers that have kind of got an ego thing? Like, they think they know what they're doing.
Maybe the structure, or like maybe the hierarchy of the club is a bit like out of whack.
A dictatorship kind of thing.
Because look, Sancho spoke out. He got shipped off, and now he's playing good. Ronaldo spoke out. He's gone to Saudi. He's getting his money. Like, can't really say he's playing good, but he's getting his money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You expect 39 goals from Ronaldo in a season, in a year for him. It's Ronaldo.
Exactly, yeah.
But
what I wanted to ask you lot was, what do you think United need to do to get to that next level?
So much.
I can't even think of one good thing that they're doing at the moment.
I narrow it down. Who do you think they need to sign or get rid of, or what do they need to change in
This, for me, is where the real interesting thing comes in. Because, again, I know we spoke about it last week. Bruno Fernandes, in that game, showed you both sides of why I think he can't stay in that Man United side long term. He is brilliant, obviously, when he plays certain passes, certain runs, certain ability to pick up the ball. Because that ball he plays out to Amjad to whip out for his goal. When Amjad then cuts inside, plays it back to Fernandes on the edge of the box. Great ball, great
finish as
vision,
well, yeah.
ridiculous finish. Bruno, very few players other than Bruno Fernandes could pull off all 3 actions in that goal that he does.
Exactly. Even that free kick he had as well.
Off the bar, that was
Like, he should have scored that as well if he got a little bit of luck and so on. But yeah, he also alongside that had 2 key moments one that leads to a goal for Nottingham, another one that should have led to a goal for Nottingham. So I think the link between attack to midfield is a problem. I think their midfield as a whole is questionable. Manu, in my opinion, is the only person I'd say stays in it long term.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the players that are actually quality and that can take them to the next level, I see Manu, I see Diallo. I think De Ligt, if he can get, like, I don't want to say back to his best because he was 19 when he was in the limelight, but if he can kind of hit the form that everyone like touted him to hit, then yeah, he'd be great. Euro looks good, but there's so much players which are they're not at the level that United want to get to. I'm looking at like Rashford, for example, Ugarte, who else do they have? Maybe even Xerxes and Højlund. Like if they don't improve soon, maybe United might have to consider other options maybe.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Amrin's first season. He needs
got to give him a bit of time.
Yeah, and he's gonna have transfer windows. We're gonna see who he brings in. All that sort of stuff. But
I think it will be hard to judge them properly until after February, like March. Once they've had like a good 4 or 5 months of being a team, that's when you start to have a bit more of an idea about their identity. Yeah. Right now, they're still the scraps of all the previous managers and mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. They also played against another team we're going to be talking about, Arsenal, which is a good segue into that game. Yeah. So obviously they lost 2-0 against Arsenal. And the main deciding factor of that game was Arsenal's set pieces. Yeah, utter woke nonsense from you, Bukayo Saka, for practicing corner kicks. Oh my God, who actually does that? It's just Reece just loading that up. Stupid. He was loading it up. Neek. Yeah. I'm playing. But now, like, you can't take it away from him. That is one of their biggest source of goals this season. Obviously, they're one of the best teams in the league. So when I have a corner, it's Jova. Yeah, exactly. Never has a team like a corner been so cash money for them, and they have so much people that can score off corners and even deliver corners as well. You got Rice, you got Saka who can deliver it in with pinpoint accuracy, and then you've got Saliba who scored 2 game weeks in a row. Like it's such a surefire way to win games for them. It seems. Yeah, I think they scored like 23 corners since the start of last season, which is like more than any club by a mile. Yeah, it's the most in Europe. Yeah.
You would love to have a striker who could put those numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think Havertz gets on the end of a few of them sometimes.
He's great in the air. He is. Yeah. So I know that there was a whole season for Chelsea where he got like 6 goals for us from headed goals and like that. Nah, credit to him. I don't like it. Just because corners aren't entertaining. Yeah. But I still have to respect it. It's a valid way to score a goal. It's winning them games. Could be the difference between wherever they'll finish and where they could finish. So
but they can't be too reliant on them. I mean, when they was playing Fulham, like, you know, Rice and Odegaard, they were putting so many chances in, and Partey was missing them, and then they had to rely on the corners to get the win. The way I see it is, if no one can stop it, then why even bother considering? Don't fix it if he's not broke.
Yeah, don't fix it if he's not broke, because it seems so inevitable when it comes in. Like for them, a corner has the same like expected goal as a free kick. Yeah. It seems almost. But
probably better at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Or better than a shot on goal from anyone.
Yeah, it is. But, and obviously Gabriel hasn't been in the team, and they've still been scoring. Saliba's taken up the mantle.
And that's what's been so impressive in my opinion. Losing someone who is one of the best centre-backs in Europe, in Gabriel, and they still look imperious for the most part in terms of like they're still defending well. They're still obviously, as we said, still winning corners and scoring them.
Yeah.
Credit to them.
Yeah. I mean, they did drop points against Fulham though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but it's a London derby.
I was going to say, when it comes to London derbies, anything can happen. But yeah, I think it is an interesting one for Arsenal because obviously them dropping points this time is the first time where there's been a separation between Chelsea and Arsenal in the league. Yeah. And Arsenal can't afford to have that gap exist, let alone open up any further if they want to continue talking about how they're in a title charge or a title challenge.
Yeah. To be fair, I think by the looks of it, Chelsea are 2 points ahead of Arsenal right now. So it's looking like, slowly edging them out as maybe the best club in London.
I mean, we never won.
I always have been. I think they never stopped being,
We never
have you not
being.
played Arsenal yet? You haven't?
This season we drew, 1-1, I believe.
1-1, yeah, so even then you're neck and neck there as well.
Obviously, the last season was a painful one. They absolutely were leaps and bounds ahead of us, but obviously Chelsea were in a weird state. But all I'm saying is, even in their rebuild, their resurgence, we've still won more trophies than them in the last 5 years.
You know what I honestly think? I honestly think that Arsenal won't win the league before United win the league. I think United will be in the mud, come back up, win the league before Arsenal do it. Like the amount, even though Arsenal have been, we're second, we're the second best team in the league, whatever it may be. I think they're just missing that striker, or they're missing that little extra something, that little like match-winning quality that they just don't seem to have. And I think if they sign Isaac, then that's it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's them in the title.
I think, I don't know about winning the title off of Isaac, but for me, I agree with you in the sense that I think it's striker and left wing is my two key contentions for
Martinelli's
Arsenal.
not it.
He's flashed so much promise for like 6 years now about how good he could be. I don't see it.
Still pick Trossard over.
I'd still pick Trossard over him.
Yeah, I mean, Trossard puts the ball in the back of the net. Like that's all you need at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I think they're missing. I think they are missing elite attackers.
Yeah.
They've got really good attackers, but not X-factor attackers, and I think that could be the difference.
Like even Sterling, like they signed Sterling, and he's hardly had a minute for him.
I think when it comes to Sterling, I think Pep made his career in a sense, like made him look 10 times the player that he actually or maximise his potential. Because let's not take it away from him.
He had to be the player as good as he was, as quick as he was, as great of a dribbler and positioning to be the places to score. But you bang on, Pep set up a system that allowed him to be in those positions to just finish moves.
Yeah, with Sterling, he has like the best attacking position I've seen of like almost any player. Like he knows how to be onside and get into them tap-in positions, which people try to like discredit him for. He only scores tap-ins or whatever. But
you gotta be there to do it, bro. Most people
can't get the goals.
And obviously Pep saw that and was like, let me optimize this. Let me optimize this basically, and let me just get the most goals as I can. And surely enough, he got like 20 goals in the season.
You know what I think is really interesting about the point you're making as well, because Sterling is one of the best dribblers we've seen in terms of his ability on the ball. But I think he's a worse player when you play him as a dribbler. You play him as a dribbler, and his decision making is pulled into question.
He can get past
anyone. Sterling can get past anyone.
He can get past the man.
What will he do when he's past them?
He has a habit of like taking it into like alleys,
dead ends,
product.
So it's like it's good if you beat your man, but you need to realise what's your next 2-3 moves after that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But yeah, we went on a bit of a tangent with.
I think it's valid though.
It's only suiting because we're going to talk about his former club now. City. Who
they're boring, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're just boring.
Literally the same thing that we've been saying all week. We were talking about this before.
Falling off so bad,
Yeah, they won against City and then they dropped points against.
Won against Nottingham, then
Nottingham,
Palace.
Sorry, City won against Nottingham and then they dropped points against Palace.
It was a big win against Nottingham though, because that would have been the game this week. If they'd have lost that one, I'd have understood. Again, like we've been discussing with Nottingham, such a weird team, bogey team, could have beat anyone, could lose to anyone kind of feeling. So for them to beat Nottingham, especially after being on a losing streak, I think that was a huge result for them. But to come back to draw against Palace, and they had to claw their way back into it.
To be fair, I think De Bruyne was watching the podcast because he saw that we were calling him out.
He's like,
that's what I think. Like when he's starting for City, 5 games, 5 wins.
Yeah.
When he hasn't started, you've got like 9 games, 3 wins, 4 losses. And I think he needs to take the team by the reins now that Rodgers there. Like he's the most senior player in the City squad. He's been there since Pep joined. And I think he needs to be like Gerrard-esque player in sort of.
Yeah, definitely.
You're dominating the midfield, and the team has kind of been built around him in the past. So he just needs to like push for them.
I think he's just knackered, to be honest. Like maybe he can produce a game like he did against Forest, but then he needs 2 weeks rest. Because he wasn't nowhere to be seen against.
We'll see how he is after. Obviously, now he's coming back from. Now he's back from injury properly. Let's see how he is once he's staying consistent, fitness-wise. So, but you know, one thing I did want to ask you about in particular.
Yeah.
How do you feel about seeing Grealish as a number 10 again for City?
Yeah, I'm happy because for me, that's where he looks the best. Like obviously at Villa when he was captain and he promoted
left wing merchant.
Yeah, like he looked amazing. Obviously, he was scoring bangers, finesse shots. He was setting up goals, taking on his man, and then Pep kind of turned him into this like. I'm going to use you to frustrate the other team and just keep the ball.
He just slows down, and that's what draws him to the fouls.
To be fair, he's won what he won, and at the end of the day, if he wanted to go over there and become that for Pep, then you're working under the best manager of all time, arguably, let's say, innit? But I feel like he's kind of put a cap on how he can play because he can
individuality,
like goes back to the Cole Palmer point. Like if last season, I remember saying to people, if Grealish came back to Villa, I'd take him because I know he'd just slot back into the number 10 captain position that he had, and he'd be that guy again where everyone looks at him like he's a 100 million player. But literally playing at City, he done his job. He won what he needed to do, and now that position's opening up again, maybe he can fill it up and take it up for 1 or 2 years. But he won't get the output that De Bruyne has.
No.
because he was never like a numbers player. He never was a numbers player. He always he had good. He's a bit like Hazard in the terms that he had good performances, but he wasn't always on the score sheet.
Yeah.
And that's something that's good about him, and that's something that's you can't really knock. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough. But honestly, when I was watching that Nottingham game and I saw him coming in field, I'm like, damn, he looks composed. He looks comfortable in the middle.
You had like the PES and FIFA graphics. You had Grealish, who was the FIFA, and then you had that Jota Silva, and he's literally like the PES version of Grealish as well.
I literally wrote that
Like
down.
down renders, yeah.
I don't know where I wrote it, but I'll have to re-find it. But I literally wrote, he doesn't even, like, Jota Silva doesn't even look like a weird dude. Like, he only looks weird because of uncanny valley. I look at him, I'm expecting to see Grealish's face.
Yeah.
So then I see the wide lips. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like you see the haircut, you see the calves, you're like, is that Grealish?
You see the headband.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so moving on to the last team of the week, Liverpool. Reece, they didn't even play this week. He must be gutted.
Yeah, unfortunate. It's a Merseyside derby. It's always a big game.
Yeah, exactly.
Last one at Goodison Park as well before they go down to the Championship. Yeah, so it might be the last Merseyside derby ever. But
yeah, I feel like Salah really wanted to dunk on them because it might have been his last game, maybe.
Salah, I can't even put into words how good he is. Like, he needs his contract.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's been rumoured for 2 years, yeah, he needs that. And I think at the end of that, he's literally going to be up there as probably the best Premier League player ever.
I mean, that could be he's competing with Henry, Cantona.
Do you know what? Nah, I'm still standing by that, yeah. In an ideal world, yeah.
The best Premier League player of all time when he has one Premier League.
Yeah.
One Premier League.
Listen, in an
Alan
ideal world...
Shearer might even disagree.
Let me land. Right, in an ideal world, yeah, he's not got one Champions League, he's got 3. He's not got one Prem, he's got 3. Like, it's just that little difference, but like...
I mean, after the 115 charges, he might have 5.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, see, there we go then. But
you know, does he have a Premier League with Chelsea?
Nah.
It doesn't count.
He wasn't there. We never won it when he was there.
Oh, okay.
He was there right before Mourinho came back, and then obviously he didn't win it. He got sold in Mourinho's first season.
Yeah. But you think he should get the contract?
Any money? Bro should be the first place to be worth $1 billion in my books.
I feel like the way he's talking and the rhetoric that he's using in interviews, I feel like they made it clear to him that it's the end, because otherwise he wouldn't be saying stuff like, "Oh, it's my last game at Anfield."
Yeah, but I feel like he's pushing for it because he wants it. But I mean, like, looking at his stats, he's already on 13 goals in 14 games this season.
Top scorer with the game in hand.
And he averages, like, all of his seasons, he's averaged around 20 goals. So at the moment, like, in the top scorers list, he's 8th with 170. So if he gets another, like, 10 goals, yeah, then that's going to bring him up to about 4th or 5th, beating Sergio Aguero.
Yeah.
And if he signs his 2-year...
Who's ahead of him? It's Shearer, of course.
Henry, Lampard, Aguero, Cole, Rooney, Kane, Shearer.
Yeah.
So you think you got another 2 years, and every single season he's averaging 20 goals. So you got another 40 on top of that.
Possibly.
That takes him nearly, probably above Harry Kane.
Yeah.
So you can't even deny that he's got to be up there, one of the best. Same with assists, averaging about 12, 15 a season. Another 2 years, that'll take him past, Frank Lampard. Like, there's just no debating.
The thing is with Liverpool, yeah, like I said this last week as well, like they always seem to do things at the right time. So like, you feel like, obviously it looks like you're not going to win the league this season.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe if he wins the league this season, then he kind of just leave with his head held high, go to Saudi, make his money, live his Islamic lifestyle in Saudi and, be completely...
Well, yeah, I think
do you know what I mean?
he deserves it after everything. I mean, the Ballon d'Or needs to be done, and then you can say that, but I think he's a forerunner for that as well. Like, no one else is putting numbers up like that.
But to be fair, you lot played Newcastle midweek, and you actually did drop points.
We did, yeah.
For the first time, it seems, since the Forest game.
Yeah.
So
Only the third time this whole season you've dropped points.
Yeah.
Point blank.
Unfortunate, yeah.
Speaking of Salah, he saved you lot again.
I did, yeah.
2 goals, 1
There we
assist.
go. More reasons to back us up. We'd have been down and out.
Another
Newcastle
record.
all over us, yeah.
Yeah, another record Salah's got for himself. Most games with a game.
A goal
with
and assist, yeah.
of course.
Yeah, that's crazy. That he
record,
does
yeah.
everything basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Newcastle really gave you a lot of fight. I mean, Isaac, that first goal that he scored.
Yeah.
Like, what a
Van
pure
Dijk gonna
strike.
get near it, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That was a whip.
Unreal, yeah, all over us that
and
game.
That's the first time like you've seen a striker as well kind of do over Van Dijk. Not
Yeah, like
get the
give him a
better of
tough time, yeah.
get the better of him.
Yeah.
Usually Van Dijk...
Because he lost his head a bit with
easy.
Gordon when he barged into him as well. Like,
Yeah.
that's
didn't he?
that's not Van Dijk.
Yeah, a couple... maybe some people were actually wondering, maybe that could have been a red card or the
Violent
serious offence.
conduct as he was talking
You
about.
know, the way I see it is sometimes if an attacker's feeling himself a bit too much, you just gotta
you
gotta
calm
put
down a
some
little
on
bit.
him.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you gotta remind him like, yo, this is my third of the pitch. Like, you can't be out here thinking you own this side of the pitch.
This is mine.
Yeah, exactly.
We would have been 3-2, but Kelleher at the end, a little blip, and Shaw obviously unreal finish.
I mean,
he took that one in. Yeah,
You're saying off the pod that he's maybe ready to be.
he should be
The first team
Liverpool's number
keeper.
one after Alisson.
But see-
Alisson said that he's leaving.
But that's where I would disagree with you. I'd say moments like that cause you to just for that lapse in concentration for 1 second, it causes you to lose 2 points. That can come back to bite you in the end of the season.
Yeah, and obviously the goalkeeper is probably the important role on the pitch, but Alisson's had a few stinkers like that in the past, like last season in the Champions League when he failed to clear the ball or he's given a pass away, and it's like, you've got to cut him some slack because Kelleher hardly makes mistakes. And not to dunk on Chelsea, but in the Carabao Cup finals and in the Carabao Cup competitions, like when Alisson's been out, he has literally been a saving grace. Like, I don't think Alisson could have done half as good a job had he been there. But I think it proves that Kelleher is worthy of being our number one, because I think any team in the league would have him either as a number one or a backup goalkeeper.
He's definitely the best second choice keeper out there.
Yeah.
I'd take him ahead of Sanchez, I'll be real.
Yeah, exactly. And but the thing is, with goalkeepers, it's a position where you're judged on your mistakes rather than your merits.
Yeah.
So for him, like
No
that,
one remembers a good save, but everyone remembers if you let one in, kind of thing.
yeah, so like that mistake is going to be talked about for weeks. And if anything does happen over the course of the Liverpool season, where it kind of looks like they're losing the grip on the title, that it's theirs to lose, basically, I feel like people are going to come back and talk about that particular moment because it looked really amateur.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like he was going for it, and then for some reason,
Kind of like Sanchez a few weeks ago against Leicester when
he convinced his entire team was convinced he was going for it, and then something told him, oh wait,
Psych.
something told him, oh wait, it's going out, and he completely lets go. But what a finish from Shaw though, like most strikers in the league.
Nah, could have on a slide as well to get that in. That was class.
Yeah, and it wasn't even near post; it was far post.
post on
So
the
it's like,
slide.
how the hell do you finish that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But they gave us a tough time. But going back to Kelleher, pre-signed that Mamad, and he had a good Euros with Macedonia.
Mamad
Yeah. Can't say no more. No,
Georgia.
Georgian.
One of them two, yeah, either way.
Georgian, yeah.
But no, like, I think it's kind of a hype signing again. Like,
Yeah.
we've had these seasons where he has been good for us in the competitions, and then just throughout the blue for us just to sign a keeper like that. Like, I think it's a bit muggy. Like, no wonder he wants to leave Liverpool. Like, he's been open about it because he doesn't get the number one spot. And I think fair enough. Like, if he wants to leave, then
no one's displacing Alisson. Like literally, when he's fit, he's pound for pound with Courtois, the best keeper in the world.
Yeah.
So you can't really, you're complaining because you're a young player, you want to start with these things, but you don't really have a case to fight because you're competing against
One of the generation's best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's probably your best keeper of modern times.
I feel like with Mamad as well, it's kind of like a hype signing. I mean, like, we kind of did that as well with Gakpo. Like, he had a good World Cup, and then we kind of signed him after that. McAllister as well.
But Gakpo, you can kind of see why. You can kind of see
understandable. Like, because we was pretty much when Mane went, like, we was struggling. Like, we
you
brought
had to
Diaz in, and we needed another one. Like, we kind of front loaded, and I think
I do like Lucho though. I think he's a good player.
cracking. Yeah.
Who,
But
sorry?
Diaz.
Diaz,
yeah.
unreal. But I think obviously Slot hasn't made any transfers since he's been to Liverpool.
You had Chiesa come in. That's another winger.
Probably
Like,
one, yeah, but he's
Such
been
a weird
injured,
choice. You signed a player who barely played for Juventus from injury. That was a weird one.
He's like, we're gonna have another
maybe he's
Thiago.
cooking.
or
Maybe
like
there's something there. Like,
He's fit. Apparently, he's fit for the next few games.
and he can
now,
play
but-
strikers also.
He's a class player, don't get me wrong. Obviously, he's class.
Remember him at the Euros 2021 Euros? He balled out.
And he's a really good player. And if he stays fit, I think you can have some great things. But
Yeah.
if he stays fit, if you can even get him fit.
Yeah, it's going to be like, we're going to have another situation with Ace, like Thiago, or like Jota as well. Like, we signed him, and I love Jota, but
See, if you
he's
had
so
Jota-
injury prone.
If you had Jota, he would be like, that's your front three complete. It's like,
Yeah.
it's up there with Real Madrid's front three, like the best in Europe, literally.
I don't think you can even put Real Madrid in the best in Europe anymore.
No, Mbappe's dogging.
Mbappe, he's recently been
yeah.
scoring. He scored in the game they just played against.
That's true, to be fair. I know they've overtaken Barcelona,
I don't
actually.
know
so.
which team it was.
Like, we're notorious for that. Like, when we had like Salah and Mane and Firmino, like, that was like the best front three in the world.
Yeah.
In terms of functionality, it was one of my
Yeah,
favourites.
and like one of the points in the Newcastle game as well was like the counter attacking, And like Liverpool, probably the best team in the world for like from a set piece, and like obviously the pace of Salah and Nunes.
One of the best players ever on the break.
Yeah. And then when he gets to the box, and then Nunes, he's just there and he's waiting. It's like
he just causes chaos.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes that's what you need, though, just to keep the defenders on the back foot.
He don't even know what he's doing himself, kind of thing.
You can't tell what he's gonna do because he doesn't know himself.
Yeah.
But the thing is with Nunes, like, he's flying under the radar. He's better at assisting than he is at scoring.
Yeah.
Like, very low key.
I've seen a really weird take that he should be moved into like a box-to-box midfielder.
Like Joe Linton?
Yeah, exactly like Joe Linton. Because
I see it, to be
in like
fair.
the Real Madrid game and the City game, he was playing for the badge, like really, like he was dropping deep and playing like these really mad passes over to Salah and like defending like on the corners, and like he's got the heart for that. But I don't think that's...
He's got the dogginess, but I don't think he has the composure.
His game's not rounded enough for that.
Yeah, there's two parts of playing him in
He loses it too much, I think, if you're
he probably fouled someone or do something stupid, but he's looking forward. I think he will be okay for you lot.
Yeah.
But he's a bit like Morgan Rogers at Villa. He just needs...
Yeah.
If you were looking at your Liverpool squad at the moment, what do you think, if there was going to be a banana peel, like, because obviously you guys are out in front, you've got a game in hand, you're still ahead of Chelsea. Chelsea we've been very fortunate, we haven't had a blip yet. Yeah. Arsenal have had huge blips, City have had huge blips. What do you think could be like a banana slip for you?
I think it's been the same for the last few seasons where, and I said this on the first pod, we go out there, we've got this demeanour that we're going to win, and we find ourselves 1-0 down, and it's just like, in one of the matches where we do find ourselves 1-0 down in the first half, we might not have the minerals to pull it back.
Every time.
Yeah, every single time. Like in the second half, we have to bring it back. And I think there might be a team where they catch us out like that, like Nottingham Forest has done.
How Southampton almost did as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, one thing doing that as well consistently is it's really draining on a team to always come
I was
back.
going to say, like...
It takes a lot out of a team.
Like, you're about fatigue, like, okay, you could argue that, because we literally had Man City and Real Madrid and then we played Newcastle. Like, that could have been a reason, but like, as a world-class team, you should be able to keep that up.
One of the sign of champions is like scoring 3 before 60 minutes and using the last 30, 40 minutes to just kind of control it, bring on your subs and your B team players, your squad rotation players, and just see the game out and control it like that. That's a big part of being champions.
Yeah.
Liverpool, they've done that at times, but also there's been times where they've kind of been chasing games like to Southampton.
And it just depends on who you're starting.
Going back to Reece's question, Louis' question, sorry. Like, one of the problems that I see with Liverpool is a lot of your goals, like I think it's over 60% of your goals come from Salah.
Yeah.
So what happens if, God forbid, something happens to him?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm saying, like the contract, who do we replace him with? Like, I can't think of anyone.
Who starts in there? It's Harvey Elliott, isn't it?
I mean, he would be a good shout. I mean, I prefer him over Curtis Jones. Like, when I was watching the Newcastle game, like, obviously I was thinking, I've always preferred like Elliott and then like Jones scores. But I think when we had them problems a few years ago where the midfield was just like, like got an aging Fabinho. Yeah. We've got Henderson who's just playing sideways passes and not making a forward.
Yeah.
And we were struggling because we needed like somewhere to get goals from. Because like Firmino was kind of blanking, Nunes was kind of blanking, Salah wasn't up to his best.
I remember like in the past, you had Mane, who shared the goal sharing duties with Salah. But I remember when Mane and Salah both went to AFCON.
Yeah.
And then Firmino was bagging goals. You remember he had that run of like, he scored like 6 goals in 7 games or something. So at least you had that from Firmino. So I'm thinking now, if Salah's not bagging goals for you, like who is? Because Diaz is hit and miss. Like he has purple patches.
Yeah.
Jota's
always injured.
Yeah, injured. Gakpo has like 1 or 2 games.
Nunes hits the woodwork in an open goal.
Yeah, exactly. So
one of the best chance creators, but in terms of prolificity, I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
He's not
I think like
enough.
the midfielders, they need to get the goals. That's why I preferred Harvey Elliott, because he could get the goal in when none of the midfielders were contributing. Soboslai and McAllister can do that. We've seen.
Szoboszlai can't score, bro.
Like, score bangers. He can score bangers every now and then. He's like a party kind of like.
Like, he can for Hungary, but for Liverpool,
nah.
No.
He's just like mogging. Man's just skating for the cameras, bro.
He fluffs his lines too much, which is good, because every time he goes on international break, he bangs 2 for Hungary.
Yeah.
Or he gets like.
Because he's got the armband on that side. He's got to step up.
But when he comes back to Liverpool, it's like he hesitates too much.
Yeah.
Or whatever it may be. Like, he doesn't have that confidence in himself. And it's kind of weird because when I saw highlights of him at Leipzig, he looked techie,
Top notch, yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can't judge a player based on his highlights.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously when Mane and Firmino left, that was a big blow, and we kind of had a good replacement with them in regards to Diaz and Gakpo, but with Jota being injury prone, Núñez needs to sharpen up. If Salah goes, it's who's going to sit in where? Because we've got two left wingers in Diaz and Gakpo, and Slot really messed up with playing Gakpo striker most of the times, which is obviously the point you were going back to where we're trying it hard to find goals. Right winger, it's an open game at the moment. I don't really know who we can replace Mo Salah with.
I think we'll see when it comes to the summer transfer window, when Slot gets his first proper window. After
see who he brings in. Utter woke nonsense, part 1. Base layers. What happens to long sleeve shirts? Can we just run them back? There is nothing more annoying than seeing players just wearing base layers. Like, there's something just so clean about a long sleeve shirt. Like, everyone just looks gorgeous in them. So I think from next season, all the clubs ever long sleeve shirts, and that is my utter woke nonsense.
Thank you, Reece, for that utter woke nonsense. But yeah, unfortunately, guys, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for tuning in to The Beautiful 90. Make sure to like and subscribe this video for more. And from us lot, we'll see you in the next one.